Thanks so much for your time. I am Pius Kojo-Baka, and we want to begin business from the power sector because we understand that the board of the Electricity Company of Ghana has appointed Mr. David Asamoah as the acting managing director pending substantive approval by the president following the resignation of Dubuque Mahama. Now, this comes less than 24 hours after the latter tendered his resignation letter as the managing director of the company. And my colleague James Aveji has been attending a press conference by the board of ECG and joins us live with the very latest on this subject matter. Thanks so much, James, for joining me on Business Live. Now, we are learning that Mr. David Asamoah has been nominated or appointed as the new MD for ECG pending the president's approval. Is that so? James, can you hear me?
Pius, I can hear you now.
All right, so I'm asking you to tell us the very latest in relation to the appointment of Mr. David Asamoah as the MD for ECG.
Well, Pius, so that decision was taken in just less than an hour ago after about 2 to 3 hours of an emergency board meeting of the company chaired by Alexander Martin, which came to final decision to appoint the deputy director of the Electricity Company of Ghana in charge of customer service, Mr. David Asamoah, as an acting managing director of the Electricity Company of Ghana. Now, according to the chairman, this appointment takes effective immediately, pending approval by the board will send a letter to the appointing authority, which is the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to substantively approve his appointment as a substantive deputy managing director of the company. But for now, he will be acting in that capacity from deputy director in charge of customer service to the deputy acting managing director. Now, other key issues also came up at that press briefing from the board after that meeting. You will remember that some industry players have been calling for a total dissolution of the entire board because the resignation of just the managing director will serve no good when looking at the current position of the company. The chairman of the board, Alexander Martin, has been rejecting that call for a total dissolution of the board. He thinks that the board, as constituted, is barely new. They have served about some 4 to 6 weeks in office. And so it cannot be the case that the work of the current board is the reason why the ineffectiveness of the current board is reason for the current state of the Electricity Company of Ghana, and so rejecting that call, promising that they have actually started formulating some measures to roll out to make the operations of the ECG a bit more profitable than what it is now going into the future. And so that's what we have now, appointment of a new acting managing director, as well as rejection of a call for dissolution of the entire board of the Electricity Company of Ghana.
All right, James. So were there indications as to the next line of action in terms of the operations of ECG following the resignation and, of course, now the appointment of David Asamoah? What's the next line of action for the company?
The next line of action, as well as Mr. David Asamoah's appointment is concerned, is that the board will send a formal notification to the president. We know he's not in the jurisdiction as we speak, but between now and when that official notification will be sent to the president, where the president will take a final decision as to whether he would affirm the appointment of Mr. David Asamoah as a substantive managing director in the next few days as we speak. And so that's the next line of action, duty the board will be performing for now. The next thing is for the board to see how they can improve upon the operations of ECG to make it more profitable than we know now. And so that's what we expect the board to do as far as appointment is concerned.
All right, James, before you go, now, following his appointment, did he speak? What did he say? Will be his roadmaps in terms of transforming ECG? Did he say anything about it?
The major challenge confronting the company is the collection of revenue. That is one key issue the company is looking forward to improving. A lack of enough revenue is reason why the companies are unable to meet the formula, cash waterfall mechanism formula for payment of the IPPs and other stakeholders, including government institutions who are supposed to take some shares from the revenue of the electricity company of Ghana. And so that is key. In fact, in the address of Alexander Penyumakin, he's been urging customers to be good customers moving forward, to pay their bills promptly so that the company can improve upon its revenue generation, pay its IPPs, as well as acquire enough oil and gas, which will be responsible for generating enough power for the company onward distribution through the ECG to the company to avert any form of, they call it a load shedding, some people call it doom. So to avert any form of load shedding that may be evident as a result of the ineffectiveness of the ECG in revenue generation. So those are some of the key things they are looking forward to improve as far as the power distributor ECG is concerned. As far as workers are concerned, it is work as usual for them. When we came here, they were going about their duties as normal. I saw about 2 people still cladded in the red piece of cloth signaling their rejection of the merger of the Water River Authority as well as Bupa, which has nothing to do with the ECG. But just because all of them are in the same building, we saw that as we came back. As far as the workers are concerned, what goes on as usual, and the appointment of an active managing director will mean that there is no gap as far as administrative processes of the company is concerned.
Very well. Thank you so much, James Saveji, for that comprehensive report. We shall come to you as and when we need more clarifications. Let's stay a while longer on this subject matter because all members of ECG board have been urged to resign in the wake of the decision by the company's managing director, Samuel Dubik Mahama, to step down from his role. Now, according to the energy sector players, the resignation will not be meaningful if the board says or stays at post. Energy strategist Dr. Yusuf Sulemana is warning of dire consequences if challenges faced by ECG are not addressed.
ECG is something that we can't afford to get wrong, in the sense that it is a key cash conduit for the other streams within the power sector. If ECG is not right, if you don't get ECG right, we can be sure that the transmission and distribution is going to struggle, because it is ECG that serves as cash pool for these other agencies or for these other value streams. And so yes, we need to get ECG right. We need to ensure that ECG is run efficiently. And so that's how I call for the fact that we need to get a quick replacement as much as possible. And we need to find the underlying causes. Though he mentioned that it's personal reasons, we need to know what those reasons could be, and so that maybe the new one coming doesn't step into same minds and being asked, at the end of the day.
Let's shift focus now to some other stories well within the energy sector, though. And National Petroleum Authority has given the firm assurance that the current LPG shortage that has hit parts of Accra and Tema will be addressed before the close of this week. Now, this morning, some managers of LPG stations in Accra told Joy Business they are running out of stock. Now, the Tema Oil Refinery says it has started loading off liquefied petroleum gas to the various tanker drivers at its premises from this morning. Meanwhile, my colleague James Ishen has been engaged in the head of economic regulation at the National Petroleum Authority, Abbas Ibrahim Tasunti, on this matter.
From your perspective, what led to this particular challenge?
Okay, so I'm sure you are talking about the concern that have been raised about the possible shortage of LPG. So actually, there was an operational challenge at some of the depots after the recent LPG vessel that came to discharge, completed discharge. What is done is that when the completion of discharge is done, there has to be a reconciliation at all the depots, and then the quantity certificates are signed off by all parties. But I think there were some unusual losses at some of the depots. I think they discharged about 4 depots, and then they had issues with some of them. The concern was that some of the losses at the depots were above the norm. So the supplier had to discuss with the receivers to agree on what the standard allowable losses are for them to sign off. I think that discussion is what delayed a little bit. So I think I heard concerns being raised that it was TOR. It's not actually TOR alone. There were about 4 different depots. All of them had similar issues. As we speak this morning, all those issues have been resolved. The reconciliation has been completed. The quantity certificate at TOR has been signed now. TFC has been signed. The TMPT has been signed as well. The other depot matrix, as I speak, I just ended a meeting with the supplier. That's also been agreed. It's also been signed. So all the depots, I think the only outstanding depot was Quantum, which has also a way forward has been agreed to agree on what outend quantity should be used. So all of that has been signed. The quantities are now being uploaded into the ERDMS so that the BDCs can now sell to the LPGM. So I think in less than an hour, sales should start from the depots, and that should address the concerns about a possible shortage of LPG.
And is there a timeline? We've spoken about the engagement so far. Some are saying in the next 2-3 days or so. Is there a timeline? When are we to expect this end?
Oh, actually, like I said, the product's already in the depot, so the reconciliation has been completed now. So the volumes have been uploaded into the ERDMS, and sales will start actually in less than an hour.
All right, so we want to get onto the grounds and speak with the Vice President of the LPG Marketers Association, Gabriel Kumin, on the very latest in relation to this subject matter. Thanks so much, Gabriel, and good to see you once again. Now, can you confirm whether things have normalized so far?
Good evening. It's good to be back again. I think as a regulator, you should be speaking with some level of credibility. My little brother, Abat Asunti, assured the whole nation this afternoon that within an hour, I think he spoke around 11 a.m., that within an hour, all the depots are going to start loading. I can confirm to you that it's 5:15 p.m. No depot in Tema has loaded even 1 truck of LPG. And it's already late. I don't think we've been asked, all the trucks that went to the various depots have been asked to go back home because there's not going to be any loading today. So I want you to get back to my little brother Abbas to find out why loading has still not started.
All right.
At 5:15 p.m. today.
We shall do that. My producers will be working that bit for me, and so that we get him on, and of course he share his reasons as to why he's still not, stuck to his words. But you, as an industry player yourself, have you sought to find out why? So, because you also heard him say so.
It's the same reconciliation issues. We have tried to find out. In fact, when the announcement came from the National Petroleum Authority through my little brother Abbas that loading was going to start within the next 1 hour, we rushed to all the various depots, placed our orders, but we were told by the BDCs that the reconciliation issues, the issues that we've been having for the past almost a week now, are still not resolved. So we should wait. We have been waiting, and as I speak to you now, it's 15 minutes past 5 p.m. And there is no sign of loading from any of the 4 or 5 depots that we have in Tema. So we will call on the authorities to step in, because as we speak now, when we did a check-in at about 5 o'clock, about 75% of LP machines within the Accra region have run out of stock. And I can assure you that if this will persist this condition persists by tomorrow, by close of tomorrow, we are going to run out of LPG completely in the system, especially within the Accra metropolis. We don't know what these reconciliation issues are. I mean, there is enough LPG in the system. with the BDCs. The BDCs are holding about 11,000 metric tons of LPG. We don't know why these products are not being released into the system. They are not being given to the LPG marketing companies to distribute to our outlets so that the ordinary consumer can purchase this product and use.
Which means that going forward, which means that, Gabby, please engage me on this. Which means that going forward, consumers would have to bear the brunt of all that is happening. And I don't know what consumers should be doing by now.
Obviously, we are marketers of the product. We buy these products from the bulk oil distributors. So once the bulk oil, the supplier is not supplying to the LPG marketing companies, there's no way we can supply our consumers with LPG. We simply do not understand. I think this bidding process of procuring LPG into the country must be looked at again. When all the BDCs were making their own procurement of LPG, we didn't have this challenge. But since MPA decided that they are going to embark on this bidding process to import LPG into the country, we've been having challenges upon challenges upon challenges. Even the benefit that we were supposed to have gained from this bidding process, we are not seeing that in the price buildup. So we think it's about time they allow the market to operate. Each BDC must be allowed to source for its own product so that all these unnecessary delays and unnecessary shortages can be curtailed. Unfortunately for us, our Atuabo gas processing plant has been shut. They are not in proper operation, so the LPG we were supposed to have gotten from Atuabo is also not forthcoming. So now Atuabo has been curtailed. The stock that we have in Tema that could have been distributed is also being curtailed.
All right, Gabby, so do you fear that, well, if this persists, as you're saying, it may have an impact on our penetration quest to improve the use of LPG? Obviously. Once you create this shortage, what you are doing is that you are pushing people away from consumption of LPG. Because LPG has a substitute. It has a substitute in charcoal and wood fuel. So if consumers are going to struggle to purchase LPG, they have an alternative. They have an alternative in wood fuel and charcoal. All right.
So we appeal to the authorities to, as a matter of urgency, do away with this bidding process, allow the market to flow freely, allow each BDC to purchase its own source for and purchase its own LPG, so there can be competition in the market, so right, there can be an abundance of product on the market. But as it is now, government's own objective of trying to increase penetration of LPG is under serious attack because the product is not flowing as it should.
All right, Gabriel. Thank you so much, Gabriel Kome, for joining us on the Business Live program. You're still watching Business Live. We are back with more stories. Please do stay on. Hello again. The Bank of Ghana has rolled out a new method for calculating foreign exchange rates. The move, the regulator argues, is in line with the best international practice and ensures that it meets international standards. There is more in the following report.
According to the Bank of Ghana, this is to ensure that more data is brought on board, as well as coverage when it comes to forex rates quoted by the commercial banks. It will also ensure that the rates reflect daily transactions executed between the commercial banks and their clients. This change, the Bank of Ghana argues that is a long-term strategy to align its foreign exchange market reference rate with that of international standards. The central bank, in its circular to the financial market players, announced the reference rate will be published every day on the Bank of Ghana website and will be computed from the data submitted by all the commercial banks. It also went ahead to explain that the commercial banks will also submit data all spot US dollar rate and Ghana cedi transactions concluded before 3:30 p.m. It will broaden the scope for calculating these foreign exchange rates to ensure that all spot transactions on the interbank market, as well as transactions with their clients that have nominal values of $10,000 or more, mutually reflective of prevailing market conditions. Officials of the Bank of Ghana have told Joy Business that the new model will also ensure that the rates quoted by the Bank of Ghana reflect market conditions.
Well, banks say they expect dollar demand to pick up strongly in the coming days, and we've got more for you in this report.
Data from some of the commercial banks showed that demand has picked up strongly over the past week. This is coming from businesses in the manufacturing sector, energy and services. Some of the commercial banks say the requests that has come in so far are for payment obligations that are due by the end of this year. Some of these firms are also looking for dollars to pay items that they've purchased on credit for the Christmas festivities. Concerns about demand picking up is coming at a time that the Ghana cedi has remained fairly stable against the US dollar for some time now. This is due to the fact that there has been improved dollar support coming from the Bank of Ghana, and the dollar not being that strong on the international market, losing some value. But will this development result in some significant depreciation of the cedi in the coming weeks as we approach December? Well, for some of these commercial banks, they don't think so, at least for now. They feel that the expected positive news coming from the Eurobond debt restructuring and even the third IMF program review could deal with this expected threat to the local currency. Again, the Bank of Ghana has promised that it will step up dollar support as we approach December to deal with the demand pressures.
That's it for Business Live for today. I am Pius Kojo-Baka. We have more stories for you on myjoyonline.com/business. There you go. BOG introduces new methodology for computing FX market reference rate. Also on that portal, LPG shortage hit parts of the country. TOR assures situation is being addressed. See you at 8 p.m. with Prime Business.